The late 1960s were the golden years of American muscle. Performance was king, and every car manufacturer was in a horsepower war. But Chevrolet has something different in mind. Enter the ZR1 package. The Corvette was already a symbol of speed, but they wanted to create something more. A Corvette specifically built for the track. While the ZR1 name would eventually be synonymous with supercar performance, its origins were far more focused. The C3 ZR1 was not just a Corvette. It was a no-compromise, race-ready machine designed for the serious driver. At the heart of the ZR1 was the LT1, a 350 cubic inch small block V8 engine that produced 370 horsepower. The LT1 in the ZR1 was paired with a series of heavy-duty components: suspension upgrades, high-performance brakes, and a Munchie M22 nicknamed the Rock Crusher 4-speed manual transmission. The ZR1 wasn't built for comfort. In fact, it was stripped of many luxury features. There were no power windows, air conditioning, or radio. Built with only one purpose in mind: to tear up the racetrack. The ZR1 was never meant for the masses. Between the years 1970 and 1972, only 53 of these ZR1 Corvettes were ever produced. For a Corvette collector, finding a C3 ZR1 is like discovering a piece of history. The C3 ZR1 wasn't just a high-performance package, it was the foundation for a legend. It laid the groundwork for what would become one of Chevrolet's most revered performance badges. A declaration that American engineering could compete with the world's best on the racetrack, and though only a few were ever built, its legacy still roars to life every time a Corvette hits the road.
The development of the C4 ZR1 began in the mid-1980s, during a period when Chevrolet wanted to push the Corvette into uncharted territory. The goal was to create a Corvette that could compete with European exotics such as Ferrari and Porsche, which dominated the high-performance car market at the time. To accomplish this, Chevrolet partnered with Lotus to lead the creation of an entirely new engine, the LT5, a 5.7-liter all-aluminum dual overhead cam V8. The LT5 was a revolutionary design, breaking away from the traditional pushrod V8 engines that had powered Corvettes for decades. The LT5 was capable of producing 375 horsepower in its initial form. This engine would power the ZR1, giving it the performance credentials to compete with the best supercars of its time. The C4 ZR1 was officially introduced to the public in 1990. However, it wasn't the looks that defined the ZR1, it was the performance. Thanks to the LT5 engine, the ZR1 could accelerate from 0 to 60 in just 4.4 seconds and had a top speed of 180 miles per hour. And to put these numbers and notions of competitiveness to the test, I've decided to use Forza Horizon 5 as a test bench for the Corvette and 3 other likely competitors during its time, to see if it really could have competed with its foreign counterparts. Using this uphill course, I gave myself 3 attempts with each vehicle to get the fastest time up the mountain and gather the results from all of them. Let's pause right here. I took the times from around the halfway point of this time trial, and here are the current placings. The results at the end of the run actually differs from the current standings, but not by much. Coming in first place is the Ferrari F355 Berlinetta. Sliding into second place is the Porsche 968 Turbo S. And hot on the heels of the Porsche is the Corvette itself. Not a bad time, and not to mention, it was, for the most part, able to keep up with the foreign exotic cars in the straights, but suffered some in sharper corners. Interestingly enough, coming in last place was the R32 Nissan GTR, and despite having all-wheel drive with a handling advantage, its straight-line speed was not up to par with the others. All of this to say, the Corvette can keep up with foreign cars in its class. Shifting back towards the Corvette again, a few other quirky features, if you want to call it that, of the ZR1 was selective ride control. This adjustable suspension system allowed drivers to tailor the car's handling to different driving conditions, from comfortable cruising to aggressive track driving. Another one is the ZF 6-speed manual transmission. Paired with the LT5 engine, the ZR1 6-speed manual transmission allowed precise control over the car's power. Later, in 1993, the ZR1 received a major update, with the LT5 engine being upgraded to produce 405 horsepower. Other minor updates included new wheels and further refinements to its suspension and handling. However, by the mid-1990s, the ZR1 was facing competition from within. The base model Corvette was catching up in performance, especially with the introduction of the updated LT1 and later brand new LT4 engines, which offered impressive power at a significantly lower cost. Despite its incredible performance, the ZR1's high price, nearly double that of a standard Corvette, began to limit its appeal. In 1995, Chevrolet ended production of the ZR1, citing its high production costs and the fact that the performance gap between the ZR1 and the standard Corvette had narrowed. The C4 ZR1 was produced for 5 model years, from 1990 to 1995, with a total of 6,939 units being built. Though its production was relatively short-lived, the ZR1 left a lasting legacy. It had proven that Chevrolet could build a car that not only competed with, but often surpassed the world's best performance vehicles in its class. It also showed that the Corvette could evolve beyond the limitations of traditional American muscle and enter the realm of world-class supercars. The 2009 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 marked the triumphant return of one of the most revered Corvette badges after more than a decade. Building on the legacy of its predecessors, especially the C4 ZR1, it was the fastest and most powerful production Corvette ever made at the time, a statement of intent from Chevrolet to take on the best supercars from Europe and beyond. During the late 2000s, Chevrolet wanted to create a halo car for the Corvette brand that would compete head-to-head with the likes of Ferrari, Porsche, and Lamborghini. The idea was to develop a Corvette that had not only raw speed, but also advanced technology, exceptional handling, and everyday drivability. At the core of the 2009 ZR1 was its new, supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine, designated the LS9. This engine was based on the architecture of the LS3 engine found in the standard C6 Corvette, but it was heavily modified to handle the immense power the engineers were aiming for. The LS9 featured supercharging. The ZR1's Roots-type supercharger with the charge cooling system allowed it to generate 638 horsepower and 604 pound-foot of torque, numbers that were extraordinary for the time. Along with it came forged aluminum and titanium components to ensure durability and reduce weight. The LS9 featured a forged steel crankshaft, titanium connecting rods, and lightweight aluminum pistons, which allowed the engine to sound something like this. This engine enabled the ZR1 to reach 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds and hit a top speed of 205 miles an hour. The ZR1 was equipped with an advanced magnetic suspension system that adjusted the car's dampers in real time based on road conditions and driving style. This system allowed the ZR1 to deliver both comfort during daily driving and sharp handling on the racetrack. Another feature was carbon ceramic brakes. Chevrolet partnered with Brembo to equip the ZR1 with massive carbon ceramic brakes. These lightweight brakes provided exceptional stopping power and fade resistance, even under extreme conditions. One of the most significant achievements of the 2009 ZR1 was its performance at the famed Nürburgring Nordschleife in Germany. The ZR1 completed a lap of the 12.9-mile track in 7 minutes and 26.4 seconds. The ZR1's performance put it in direct competition with some of the best elite supercars of its era. Doing what I've done for the C4 generation of Corvette, I will place this Corvette up against the 2012 Nissan GTR, the 2009 Ferrari 458 Italia, and lastly, something that is the equivalent of an endgame build coming straight from Lamborghini, the Sesto Elemento. Using the last format, let's stop right here. Here's the current time for the Corvette, the Nissan GTR, the Ferrari, and the Sesto Elemento. As you can see, the Sesto Elemento absolutely rips through this course like it's nothing. However, the Ferrari and the Corvette are very close to each other. So, as always, let's look at the final results. Unsurprisingly, the lightest Lamborghini ever made, paired with its monster V10 and all carbon fiber body, stole the podium for first place with a time of 2 minutes 46.125 seconds. Much later, in second place, is the Nissan GTR with a time of 3 minutes 5.683 seconds, leaving the last two to be very close calls. With a time of 3 minutes 7.332 seconds, and the other with a time of 3 minutes 7.966 seconds. Taking the podium for third place is the Corvette ZR1. And taking the fourth place spot is the Ferrari 458 Italia. The total production of the C6 ZR1 was only about 2,700 units over 2 years, compared to tens of thousands for these base Corvette coupes. By 2010, increasingly stringent US and global emissions and fuel economy regulations were on the horizon. The supercharged LS9 V8 in the ZR1, while phenomenally powerful, was difficult and expensive for GM to certify under the evolving rules. So rather than invest in extensive engineering to bring the LS9 into compliance for another model cycle, GM chose to sunset it.
The C7 ZR1, produced for the 2019 model year only, represents the final and most extreme version of the 7th generation Corvette. It was the fastest, most powerful, and most aerodynamically advanced Corvette ever made at the time of its release. After the success of the C6 ZR1, produced from 2009 to 2013, Chevrolet enthusiasts expected another high-performance halo model in the next generation. The C7 Corvette, launched in 2014, brought major improvements in design, handling, and refinement, while the Z06, introduced in 2015, filled the performance niche with the supercharged LT4 engine making 650 horsepower. Chevrolet wasn't done yet. The C7 ZR1 was developed in secret under the code name Emperor, both to top the Z06 and serve as the swan song for the front-engine Corvette platform before the mid-engine C8 arrived. The ZR1 was unveiled in November of 2017 in Dubai and officially debuted in the US at the 2017 Los Angeles Auto Show. It went on sale in spring of 2018 as a 2019 model year vehicle. It was available as both a coupe and convertible, marking the first time a ZR1 had ever been offered as a drop top. At the heart of this ZR1 was a brand new LT5, a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 engine producing 755 horsepower and 715 pound-foot of torque, making it the most powerful production Corvette ever built at the time. The engine used a larger E10 supercharger than the LT4 and the Z06 and featured a dual fuel injection, a first for General Motors, combining direct and port injection for better throttle response and cooling. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 in 2.85 seconds and had a top speed of 212 miles per hour, and could do the standing quarter mile in 10.6 seconds at 134 miles per hour. In terms of total production, only 2,953 units were sold in 2019. It was a 1-year-only model, which really does add to its rarity. Production ended in early 2020, just before the C8 mid-engine Corvette launched. The C7 ZR1 is historically significant. At least to me it is, because this really was, and is, the final front-engined ZR1, which closed the chapter on over 65 years of front-engine Corvette designs. Let us never forget the legacy of the Corvette. Not just the base model, not just the Z06, not just the Grand Sport, not just the ZR1, but every single one of them this far. Thank you, General Motors, for all the hard work you have put into making quite the legacy for the Corvette. And thank you to everyone who's watching this, and hopefully have gained some useful knowledge. Take care, and have a great day.